Frank was energetic, a bit crazy at times, fun, and extremely dedicated to learning. He was a ball of energy and put 110% into everything he did.
He was one of the most committed people I knew, and his passion and his energy really helped us move through a lot of difficult times and remind us of what we did and why it was meaningful to us.
Frank always struck me as one of the most earnest and genuine people I've ever met. It's not easy to take time out of a busy life to devote towards aspirations greater than oneself. Yet, time and again, Frank put in the extra effort.
I got to know Frank during my freshman year in Beijing. We were actually both at the GCC World Summit, and we met at the cocktail party, which is quite fitting because Frank is one of the most lively and bubbly guys that I know.
When you talk about Frank, you can go on and on about GCC, studying Chinese with him, how he helped me through sometimes and how I helped him. But instead, I want to tell a story about us driving to the airport and him wanting to buy some beers before the plane. He would also hate that I was telling you this story.
For the moment I met Frank, I knew he was someone who was going to do great things for GCC and be a strong leader both at his chapter and throughout the organization. His energy, his drive to live out the mission of GCC, to connect the future leaders of China in the international community, he lived that out in everything he did.
So Frank has really been a constant throughout my entire Ole Miss experience. I can remember my first time on campus as a high school senior. I was visiting and sitting in on a Chinese class, and the first person that reached out to me as soon as I walked in that class was Frank. He was really interested in getting to know me and who I was as a person, and it was just so shocking. And I saw him 3 times later that day while walking around campus, and every single time he shook my hand, talked to me about something new with regard to Ole Miss in Chinese, and even spoke with my parents. And that's a memory that we'll never forget. It was so far away from home in a place where no friendly faces, and this individual, Frank, really meant a lot, and he was just welcomed us to Ole Miss.
He's one of those individuals who can bridge the gap between you and him very easily. Doesn't matter where you're from or what background you have, he will genuinely take interest in your story and what you have to say.
So he had turned 21 and we were going to the airport, and I pulled over to get gas and he went in to get a few beers before the plane. He's going to test out his new ID. He comes back in the car and I get back on the road. He's bragging. He's going, I look so mature now. I didn't even get carded for my beers. And it wasn't until after the second beer when he said, I'm kind of feel a buzz coming on, that I said, Frank, you bought O'Doul's, the only non-alcoholic beer in the store.
All of his work over the year really exemplifies the special things that Frank brought to our organization.
He clearly saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, which is a true quality of leaders. And Frank had that in abundance. And the really amazing thing is that I'm just one of the many countless lives that Frank has influenced and touched in a positive way.
I was lucky enough to know Frank for my entire time at Ole Miss, day one to the very, very last. So I just want to keep this short and directly to Frank. Thank you, Frank. Thank you so much for inspiring me. Emotion and passion to me is an essential part of being human and truly living life. Sometimes I get caught up in the motion of every day, in the next task, the next assignment, the next project, the next goal, that I forget to live for the little things passionately.
I think about you often, and I am so proud of all that you did for GCC and the lasting legacy that you left.
His spirit lives on in all of us, GCCers, dedicated to strengthening the bonds of humanity as he has. It is only through the energetic and courageous efforts of people like Frank that we will surmount the challenges of the 21st century and bring our world closer together.
It continues to inspire me every day to live life to the most, even when I'm tired and worn down. So thank you, Frank, for your memory, for your friendship, and for pushing me to be a better person.
Frank, we miss you, buddy. Rest easy. You will not be forgotten. I don't find we'll miss you.
Frank was silly. He was dedicated to developing China-US relations, and he was my friend.